7 years ago, for one night, the attention of the national political class in this country was on a small town in the middle of Virginia called Farmville. The occasion at that time was the vice presidential debate between Tim Kaine and Mike Pence. A handful of Farmville's 8,000 residents were in attendance for this event, and most of the debate focused on issues that no one even pretends to care about anymore, like Donald Trump's tax returns and the fact that Trump called Rosie O'Donnell a fat slob. There was a lot of talk about the internal politics of faraway countries like Syria. What didn't come up in any meaningful way is what either party would do to help towns like Farmville. And that's kind of odd when you think about it. By the time Tim Kaine, Mike Pence, and the National Press Corps showed up in 2016, Farmville had been bleeding population for many years. The median income in Farmville was an obvious cause for concern. It was less than half the median income in the United States and dropping. Thousands of residents lived in poverty. And yet, despite all that, all that the residents of Farmville heard during the debate were vague promises and cliches about an economy that would soon work for everyone, leave no one behind. 7 years later, both major political parties have had a chance to run the White House. The decline of Farmville, Virginia, has only continued in the meantime. 4 years after that vice presidential debate, the one with all the promises, where all the promises were made, Farmville ranked as the single poorest town in all of Virginia, with nearly a third of residents living below the poverty line. In 2021, the median household income in Farmville was under $36,000. That's the median, compared to more than $70,000 in the United States generally. Now, what's happening in Farmville isn't unique. Multiply the story of Farmville, Virginia, by the thousands of small towns all over the country that have deteriorated in recent years, and you get some sense of the scale of American decline that's been completely ignored in Washington. Now, politicians, they like to use these towns as props or as picturesque backdrops for their televised debates. But once the cameras leave, so do the politicians. So does the media. So does everyone. Now, one of the Farmville residents they left behind is named Oliver Anthony. He's a former factory worker who lives with his 3 dogs in the town. And last week, I briefly talked about Anthony's breakout song, Richmond, North of Richmond. The song isn't just about the failings of this country's political leaders who long ago abandoned people like Oliver Anthony. It's also about dignity, about personal responsibility, about spirituality, all verboten topics in the music industry. You've probably seen the song on social media. It's everywhere now. You can't escape it. We played it on the show on Friday. Now, for context, Anthony was completely unknown and recording songs with his iPhone for an audience of a few dozen on YouTube as recently as last week. At this time, 7 days ago, nobody had ever heard of him. Here he was on August 7th. Watch.
Well, hey, it's August the 7th, 2023. And as of this recording, tomorrow on Tuesday, Radio WV is going to upload the debut of Richmond, North of Richmond. And it's going to be the first song to get out there that's been recorded on a real microphone and a real camera, and not just on my cell phone. And Lord willing, it's going to get some traffic.
It's going to get some traffic. It certainly got some traffic, that's for sure. A few days later, that guy had 3 of the top 10 songs on iTunes. 3 of them. He was performing for a crowd of thousands in North Carolina where they were all singing along as if they'd been singing his songs for years. So here he is performing Richmond, North of Richmond for the massive crowd in North Carolina. Watch.
I've been selling my soul, working all day, double time hours for both pay, so I can sit out here, waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me and people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Lord, it is. Living in the new world with an old soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just want to have total control. Want to know what you think, want to know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, because your dollar ain't and it's tax to no end, cause the rich men know the rich men. wish politicians would look out for minors, and not just minors on an island somewhere. Lord, we got kids in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the old beach milking welfare. By God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down.
Oliver Anthony and the many people cheering him on, they're not supposed to exist, or at least you're not supposed to know that they do. You're not supposed to hear from any of them. They don't belong to any of the perpetually oppressed classes you're told endlessly to grieve for. They don't go around identifying as LGBTQ2S+ or whatever. These are people who have actual useful skills, people who want to work for a living. These are people who don't think their sexuality or race is a substitute for personality or ethics. These are religious people, men and women who despise sexual degenerates, who appreciate good music, who understand that they themselves are not all-powerful and all-knowing. They are not the controlled opposition the left has grown familiar with. These are, in a word, normal people. It's as simple as that. Innovation Refunds has been helping small businesses that qualify to get a business payroll tax refund through the Employee Retention Credit, or also known as the ERC. The ERC is a tax refund for businesses that kept employees on payroll for parts of 2020 and 2021. If you own a business with more than 5 employees, you could have money waiting to be claimed. Are you uncertain about your eligibility for the ERC? Innovation Refunds has a team of independent tax attorneys that will collaborate with your CPA to assess your eligibility, ensuring you feel confident before submitting your application. They've already helped thousands of eligible businesses apply for the ERC. Innovation Refunds does not provide tax or legal advice. They work with an independent network of tax professionals and will share information with them to evaluate and process your claims. Go to getrefunds.com to determine eligibility. If you qualify, you could be on your way to receiving money for your business. There's no upfront charge since they don't get paid unless you get paid. Go to getrefunds.com or dial 1-843-REFUNDS. That's getrefunds.com or 1-843-REFUNDS. Terms and conditions apply. With everything going on in the world right now, you could really use a good night's sleep. That's why you need to check out Helix Mattress. Helix has harnessed years of extensive mattress expertise to bring their customers a truly elevated sleep experience. They just launched their new Helix Elite. The Helix Elite collection includes 6 different mattress models, each tailored for specific sleep positions and firmness preferences. I've had my Helix for years now, and I absolutely love it. Night after night, I sleep like a sweet, sweet baby, and I want the same for you. Helix has a sleep quiz that matches your body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress, because why would you buy a mattress made for somebody else? Go to helixsleep.com/Walsh. Take their 2-minute sleep quiz to find the perfect mattress for your body and sleep type. Their flexible payment plans make it so that a great night's sleep is never far away. For a limited time, Helix is giving you 20% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Take advantage of this amazing offer at helixsleep.com/Walsh. With Helix, better sleep starts now. Now, Anthony made much of this very clear this weekend. Moments before the performance that you just saw, he delivered an important message to the crowd that had gathered. And as you watch this, I want you to put yourself in Anthony's position for a moment. Just a few days ago, you're a complete unknown. No one listens to your music. No one's heard of you. Now, all of a sudden, you're getting all kinds of offers for interviews and record deals and everything. You're one of the top trending topics across all social media platforms. Well, given that sort of platform and that attention, how would you begin your first show after all this attention? Here's how Oliver Anthony did it. Watch.
Psalm 37, 12 through 20. The wicked plot against the righteous and gnash their teeth at them, but the Lord laughs at the wicked, for he knows their day is coming. The wicked draw the sword and bend the bow to bring down the poor and needy, to slay those whose ways are upright. But their swords will pierce their own hearts, and their bows will be broken. Better the little that have righteousness than the wealth of many wicked. For the power of the wicked will be broken, but the Lord upholds the righteous. The blameless spend their days under the Lord's care, and their inheritance will endure forever. In times of disaster, they will not wither. In days of famine, they will have plenty. But the wicked will perish. Though the Lord's enemies are like the flowers of the field, they will be consumed, and they will go up in smoke.
So he opens his concert not with a plug for his Instagram or with some kind of narcissistic celebration of his own success. Instead, he quotes Psalm 37, "The wicked will perish," he says, and the crowd erupts, which is quite an applause line. They've probably never seen anything like that, at least not from a famous musician. This isn't Sam Smith's Satanism or Cardi B's sexual perversion. In fact, most of the people in that crowd probably haven't even heard a message like that in their churches, where most pastors would consider it insufficiently welcoming to quote the Bible's warnings about the punishments doled out to evildoers. So it's not just that he started his first concert, really, after getting all this attention. No, he didn't just start it with a Bible verse. He chose that Bible verse. Now, I don't think that Anthony was trying to do anything revolutionary by reading that particular passage. It just means something to him. You can tell he's getting emotional reading it. It resonates with him, so he read it. And it's a beautiful verse and an important one. He's a normal and authentic guy, which is the whole appeal. And he's also a great musician. Now, that simple fact makes him a clear and present danger to the many talentless and eternally bitter members of the so-called entertainment industry, along with their friends in the equally joyless news media. And that's why, predictably, Rolling Stone just published the first hit piece on Oliver Anthony. Many more will shortly follow, but for its part, Rolling Stone chalked Anthony's success up to, quote, right-wing influencers who have artificially promoted Anthony's song, they say. Now, the piece mentions me, a few other people who are guilty of promoting Oliver Anthony. For the record, I very much object to being called an influencer. But we have to ask, is that really the explanation for the success of Richmond, north of Richmond? I'd love to take credit for it if I could, but is that really how it works? I mean, you saw the clips we just showed you. The crowd didn't look like a bunch of influencers to me, and they didn't even look like the sorts of people who pay very close attention to influencers. How many of those people are even on Twitter? They seem, again, like just normal people. TMZ managed to miss the point even more, implying that Anthony wrote the song in order to make money. That's why he wrote it. Here's what they wrote. Quote, "This is a pretty fascinating trend we're seeing. It appears when right-wingers perceive something like a song they think addresses their grievances and perspectives, they lean into it. And from that small sample size, we've noticed it can be effective in the marketplace. Capitalism, baby. It reigns supreme." In other words, he's just trying to make a quick buck. Capitalism, baby, they sneer, as if it was so obvious that a song like this would instantly go to #1 on iTunes. As if Anthony stood in the woods next to his deer stand and played an acoustic song about his troubles as a working man, all in some cynical ploy to make millions of dollars from an audience who, at that point, didn't even know he existed. No, it's pretty obvious that what happened is this. Anthony was singing from his heart about his own experiences. He assumed the song would be heard by the same few dozen people who heard his other songs. And he was fortunately quite wrong in that assumption. Now, as weak as these hit pieces are, the truth is we know that Rolling Stone and TMZ are just firing the warning shots here. We already know that the media will set to work to destroy Oliver Anthony. No doubt they're digging through his past right now, looking for skeletons as we speak. And maybe they'll find some. Everyone has a few. Honestly, who cares? As the Daily Beast and Huffington Post ghouls scour through Anthony's social media feeds, start interviewing his high school friends, looking for dirt, let's take a step back here, because what we're seeing here, as remarkable as it is, shouldn't be viewed in isolation. Consider this. All of the biggest hit songs that have gotten the buzz and attention in recent weeks have been country songs. Recently, the top 3 songs on Billboard were country songs. Never happened before. Before Anthony, it was Jason Aldean with a song centered around similar themes. Try that in a small town, Aldean sang. And that touched off what, like a 2-week news cycle? The media freaked out about the Aldean song just as they're starting to freak out about Anthony's song because it's music that attacks the elites and gives voice to the normal concerns of normal people. Americans who aren't demented, as it turns out, don't like it when hordes of BLM rioters torch small businesses and courthouses in their communities. They don't like it when politicians send billions of dollars to Ukraine while towns like Farmville fall apart. Normal people have been told to shut up about all this for years and years. But now those people have a voice. You know, a moment ago I scoffed at the idea that Anthony would make a song like this as some sort of marketing or self-promotional strategy. And that is an idea that deserves to be scoffed at because it's totally absurd given the context. But we should note that, yes, there is indeed a huge market for this kind of thing. Just like there's a huge market for movies like Sound of Freedom. That's the other thing. That's the other context we should consider all this in. Think about the songs that are getting all the attention right now, the biggest hit songs right now, and the biggest hit movies. Millions and millions of people, normal people, are starving for art that speaks to them and their values and concerns. There is, in fact, many millions of dollars to be made here. That wasn't Anthony's motivation, but the money is there to be made, and now he'll likely make some of it, whether he wanted to or not. This just makes it all the more remarkable that the mainstream music industry, just like the mainstream film industry, absolutely refuses to cater to this audience or give them art that will actually resonate with them. Now, sure, you can make plenty of money by churning out another demented rap song, that talks about female genitalia in graphic terms and openly encourages the listeners to act in depraved and lawless and self-destructive ways. You can make plenty of money with another mindless, soulless pop song that might as well have been generated by AI. But the songs that have set the world on fire recently, the ones that have topped the charts and gotten people talking, dominated the news cycle for weeks, are songs that connect with an audience that despises all of that stuff. Anthony sings in Richmond, north of Richmond, that he's an old soul living in a new world. And those of us who relate to that lyric, as I certainly do, are made to feel this way in large part because of the sort of art, quote unquote, that the entertainment industry vomits out. We see all that stuff and we listen to it, and our souls are crushed just a little more each time. It grieves us to be surrounded by such ugliness and stupidity. And to think that so many people are just marinating in this filth without realizing what it's doing to them. There are many of us who feel that way. So many that we made a literal overnight superstar out of one simple, authentic guy strumming his guitar in the woods. So the question is, given that this huge market exists and that it is hungry for this kind of content, this kind of art, why won't the entertainment industry serve it? Even if it is just for the sake of capitalism, baby, as TMZ says, why don't they produce songs like Richmond, north of Richmond? Well, the answer is exactly what we've already established. They hate normal people, people who read their Bibles and have traditional, quote unquote, values and care about things like hard work and honesty. They hate us, and they want us all to become lazy, helpless, degenerate parasites. They want to create a population of stupid, weird, hollow people. They will even forego profit to make that happen. That's how deeply they hate normalcy. That's how badly they want to destroy it. Which, fine. If they don't want our money, no problem. We'll give it to guys like Oliver Anthony instead. Hey, YouTube, thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like access to my full show with no ads, you should go to dailywire.com and use promo code Walsh to get 2 months free on all annual plans. See you there.